One of the most dramatic stories of phantom ship sightings I've heard took place in Bathurst, New Brunswick. Florence Godin offered to take me to the site where she witnessed a ghost ship as a young girl.
It's just over here where I saw it, right here. I was walking along, and here it was like a sidewalk, and the spans started right over there where you see, right here. This is exactly where the span started, and I was inside these spans when I happened to glance out here, and it was right out here in the bay, a couple of 1,000 feet out in the bay where I saw it.
At first, Florence thought what she saw was a fishing boat on fire. Fearing someone was trapped on board, she headed back to town to get help.
And just when I turned around to go back, I noticed car lights, so I stepped off the bridge and the sidewalk and flagged the car down. And it happened to be a taxi with these people on board. And what we could see was this huge, huge boat. The flames seemed to be coming from the bottom of the boat. The flames seemed to be coming out of the top of the boat. There was huge sails. The sails seemed to be billowing in the wind, and you could see the flames go up into the sails. And we were talking to each other and trying to reassure each other what each person was seeing to make sure we were all seeing the same thing. And then all of a sudden, it seemed that the sail broke in two, and as it fell, you could see the flames, like the sparks, all going up in the air, and you could see it falling.
Some turn to local history and legends to try and explain the origins of this fiery vessel. One legend has it that the natives retaliated against two greedy Portuguese traders and attacked their vessel.
And there was this horrible firefight, and the Portuguese sailors knew that they were going to lose, and so they scuttled the ship. And one way to scuttle the ship was to set it on fire. And that's the ship that is seen now. It still sails the straits, the Baie de Chaloux.
There are many people along the northern New Brunswick coast who are struggling to understand the mystery of the phantom ship. Gaetan Dugas is a Caracat oyster farmer who knows a lot about the sea. He makes his living here, where the water lashes the shore. It was right here that Gaetan had one of the most important experiences of his lifetime.
Well, my first move was to get my binocular. And when I looked at the ghost ship in the binocular, I really saw that ball just below the sails with that shape of a boat, more flue but more darker, that is burning inside a big fireball. And after that, I decided, I have just a little camera, I decided to take pictures.
He offered to show me his prized photographs.
Oh, great.
So you can see here the sails look like in fire.
Yeah, you can see it sticking up on the horizon.
That's right. That's the first picture. That we take a picture at each 6 to 8 minutes approximately. And the second picture is more clear.
Gaetan saw the ghost ship on St. Anne's Day, an important day that commemorates Acadian culture.
I realized that I saw something very special. And I realized that situations is related to history in the past.
Between 1755 and 1783, approximately 18,000 Acadians were deported from the Maritimes. British soldiers rounded up terrified citizens and expelled them from their land, burning their homes and crops. Thousands died of disease and starvation aboard ships as they were dispersed to various points throughout the American colonies. Today, more than 250 years later, the tragedy of the deportation remains etched in the minds of descendants.
After I saw that boat, that ghost boat, or ghost ship, I have more and more respect, not only for the legend, but for the people that have to fight for their survival. I could imagine the fear of those people. So each time they saw again the ghost ship, they were probably thinking that that's a sign that the invader is coming back to burn their house, to burn their barn, and everything, their field and everything they had.
But an old man sang a song to me, 600 Acadian drowned at sea, deported long ago from St. John's Isle. He says they sail this choppy strait throughout time and tide they navigate, searching for the means to end their long exile. Tales of the phantom ship from tropical plains, she sails the wide Northumberland Strait, no one knows her name. Tales of the phantom ship.
Renowned Canadian singer-songwriter Lenny Gallant grew up in Rustico, Prince Edward Island. His song, Tales of the Phantom Ship, describes the significance of the phenomena to Acadian culture.
Well, when I was writing the song, I went into the archives on Prince Edward Island to try to find information on the Phantom Ship. And I took some of these various stories that I heard and wove them into the song. But to me, it seemed like it would make sense that perhaps the Phantom Ship was actually the early Acadians who were deported from the island and were trying to make their way back, because over 800 of them had drowned in ships that weren't really seaworthy in storms. And I thought, you know, this sounds to me like it would be a plausible reason for a ghost ship coming back. And so I created this scenario and put it into the song, thinking that, okay, I'm creating a theory for why this ship exists, only to find out later that no, that theory actually did already exist, and it was written down in books over 100 years earlier.
When will she sail again?
Some people have seen lights, others blazing sails, still others entire battles. What exactly is happening? Are phantom ships simply folklore? Are they ghosts trapped in time, forced to replay their tragic ending in front of passers-by? I needed some explanation for what people were experiencing, so I went to see Michael Persinger, an expert in the area of brain function.
So when you see an anomalous phenomena in the context of tremendous unknown and tremendous anticipation that's significant to you, usually of a religious significance or of a definition of your culture's significance, what you see is influenced by the label. The label you put on it then determines what you remember. Now, we've done this in the laboratory. If you take individuals who are not necessarily highly suggestible, but are really, really excited, and it's new, it's got to be novel, unknown, it can't be frequent, because the minute it's frequent, you go from right hemisphere to left hemisphere. Very probably not well-known phenomenon. If you've never seen anything before, the right hemisphere processes it. The minute you put a label on it, you see the same thing again, the other side of the brain primarily processes it. So whatever was associated with the right hemispheric perceptions is no longer there.
Mariners and landlubbers alike continue to look for meaningful explanations for the phantom ship phenomena. Andrew Allenbeck offered up some possible explanations.
Largely depends on what they're expecting to find. Some people, for instance, if they're in a place where there's a history of a supposed even ghostly sighting of a ship, their first assumption will be that what they've seen is a ghost ship. Others, if there is no history of some horrific shipwreck there, will try and track down some explanation from history of what ship might have been there or why it could have been on fire. Others will turn to natural phenomena. Popular theories as to that are not only things like the moon missighted through fog, which some of the witnesses themselves have claimed, right through ball lightning, right through effectively swamp gas, right through phosphorus, right through temporal lobe epilepsy, or simple psychological reasons. There are lots of potential reasons for having seen a light. Now, mind you, that said, that doesn't necessarily make it any less brilliant a story.
As I become a researcher, I start questioning as to what really went on aboard that boat and as to why this is happening. And to me, in my mind, like the only thing I could figure out is because of the violent way that these people died aboard the boat, it's almost like they're searching for peace.
The reason that the phantom ship stories, I think, have persisted and grown is that they not just that the whole communities have seen them. I mean, sure, that's great. Not just that these stories have been passed along from generation to generation to generation, because that happens with lots of stories. But the beautiful thing about these is that these are stories of the supernatural. And there is a willingness, there has to be a willingness to suspend disbelief, a willingness to accept that there are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamed of in your philosophies. And I think that culturally there is that willingness on the east coast of Canada to accept that these stories just might be true. And if they are, how romantic is that?